last class, we were talking about the curved surfaces and also how it can be represented. So it can be represented in the parametric form as well as the non-parametric form also. So in this classes, we'll be talking about the quadratic surfaces. So when we are talking about the quadratic surface, we have certain objects. We have certain objects which will come under this quadratic surfaces, which include the ellipsoid will come under the quadratic surfaces, and the torus will also come under the quadratic surfaces. So we have these three surfaces, which are these three of classes, which are class of objects, which will come under the quadratic surfaces. So how it is defined? How it is defined? So when we are talking about the sphere, so we have a sphere. So we have a sphere with radius r. So if we have a sphere with radius r, um, which is centered at the origin. We have a sphere with radius r, which is centered at the origin and is given by the points x, y, z. Then then it is satisfied by the equation. Then it is satisfied by the equation which is given by x square plus y square plus z square is equal to r square. So for example, so we have a sphere with the radius r, which is centered at the origin, can be defined by the points given by x, y, z, which is satisfying the equation x square plus y square plus r square. Sorry, x square plus y square plus z square is equal to r square. And also you can describe this. You can also describe this sphere in the parametric form by using the latitude angle and the longitude angle. So for example, so this is x-axis, x-axis. So I'll write it as x-axis, y-axis, z-axis, and it is given by the radius. This is the radius, and this is the point which is represented by x, y, z. So now I'll call the angle between this point P and the y-axis as phi, and this angle as theta. So now now we can represent this in the parametric form, where x is given by x is equal to r cos phi, cos phi, cos theta. So here the angle is between minus 90 degree less than or equal to phi less than or equal to 90 degree, where the phi is between the minus 90 to plus 90 degree. And also y is represented by r cos phi sin theta, where the angle is between minus 180 to 180 degree. So it is 180 degree. And also z is given by r sin phi. So for example, we have a sphere with radius r, which is passing to the which is entered on the coordinate origin. It can be defined through this points x, y, z, which is satisfying the equation x square plus y square plus z square is equal to r square. And also you can represent this in the parametric form using the latitude angle and the longitude angle. So where latitude angle and the longitude angle, where the value of x is given by x is equal to r into cos phi cos theta, where the phi is between minus 90 to plus 90, and y is equal to r cos phi sin theta, where this phi is between minus 180 to 180 degree. So this is the parametric representation. This is the parametric representation. And also um, and also so this parametric equation can also be specified. So alternative, you can also write this parametric equation by using the spherical coordinates, also by using the spherical coordinates also, where the phi will be specified as a co-latitude. So where the phi will be specified as the co-latitude. So that is one more representation. So this is with respect to the sphere. So when we talk about this, so this is with respect to the sphere, and the next one is ellipsoid. So ellipsoid is nothing but the extension. So ellipsoid is nothing but the extension of spherical surfaces. Ellipsoid is the extension of spherical surfaces, but but here it is having multiple radius. Here it is having multiple radius, which are in three different directions, which are in three directions which are mutually perpendicular to each other, and they can have different values. So what do you mean by ellipsoid means? So here ellipsoid means it's an extension of the spherical surfaces, but it is having radius. It is having multiple radius, like a radius along x-axis, radius along y-axis, radius along z-axis, and these three radius are perpendicular to each other, and these three radius can have different values. So one thing, for example, the image I will just draw this. So this I'll take it as x-axis, y-axis, z-axis. So what is the radius? What is the ellipsoid? Ellipsoid is an extension of the spherical surfaces. It is having radius 3. It is having multiple radius. That is 3. It is having 3 radius, which are mutually perpendicular to each other, and they are having different values. So it can be along here. It can be along RZ, radius along z-axis, radius along y-axis, and radius along x-axis. So I can draw uh, I can draw the diagram like this one. So this is one. This can be like, so this is the radius along. This is along one axis. This will be along another axis, and this is along one axis. So see, one is along the y-axis. One. So it is like, see, if this is the y line, if this is the y line means we are having one along. See, one image along y-axis, one along z-axis, and the other one along x-axis. So like this, we have this ellipsoid where it is having. So this can be radius along z-axis, uh, radius along y-axis, and one more radius along x-axis. So we have, so this you can call it as the ellipsoid. So ellipsoid means it will be having radii, one along each of the axis, and they are perpendicular to each other, and they can have different values. So this is with respect to the ellipsoid. So this ellipsoid can be represented. How do you represent ellipsoid? So for sphere, I know I told you that x square plus y square plus z square is equal to r square. So ellipsoid is an extension of sphere. So it is having along the x-axis it is having radius as rx, along the y-axis radius as ry, along the z-axis radius as rz. So this equation can be modified to represent like x by rx, x by rx the whole square plus y by ry the whole square plus z by rz the whole square. So we can have this the equation. So the representation the Cartesian representation for this point over the surface of the ellipsoid, which is centered on the origin, is satisfying this equation. So this equation will be satisfied: x by rx the whole square plus y by ry the whole square plus z by rz the whole square is equal to 1. And also here also we can also represent x, y, and z with respect to the latitude angle and longitude angle. Latitude angle means phi, longitude angle means theta. So here also we can represent this ellipsoid with respect to latitude angle, longitude angle. So x is given by x is equal to, so x is equal to, so in previously I wrote it as uh, x is equal to r cos phi cos phi cos theta, y is equal to r cos phi sin theta. Here also the same thing. Here also it is little modified. That's all. It is little modified. So we can represent the parametric form with respect to the latitude angle and longitude angle, where x is given by, instead of r, it will be rx cos phi cos theta. Y is equal to ry cos phi sin theta, and z is equal to rz sin phi. So this is how the parametric equation is represented. Here also it will range from minus 90 to plus 90, where the value of phi, and here it will be from minus 180 to 180. It is the value of phi here. So this is how the ellipsoid is being represented. So this is how the ellipsoid is being represented. Uh, so this is with respect to the ellipsoid. So next, the third one is we will be talking about the third one, which is torus. So I'll just write the diagram corresponding to that. So next, the next object under our consideration is um, ellipsoid is done. So we'll be talking about the torus. So see, the side view of torus is, it will look like this. This is a side view. So this is a side view of the torus. I'll just draw that. So this is with respect to the y-axis. This is with respect to the z-axis. Um, and this is some radius r, which is given by some angle phi, and the point is y and z. So this is a side face. So this is a side view. This is a side view of torus. And if we talk about the top view, so this is the top view. So this is the view this is the top view. So this will be the top view. So this will be the top view of the torus. So here it is given by some point is represented by um, x comma y comma z. So this is y-axis. This is z-axis. No, this is not the z-axis. This is on the top. This is x-axis. So this is x-axis, and this is the angle. This is the angle theta. So the this is the image which is corresponding to the torus. So we have the side face view and also the top view. So here how do you generate this? So this torus can be generated by rotating the circle, about a specified axis. If you are rotating the circle about a specific axis, you will be generating this torus. So what is the equation? So what is the equation for the side face view? So for the side face view, um, the side face view is given by y minus, so radial axis square plus z square is equal to r square. It is like, we know that x square plus y square is equal to r square. No, the same thing, the same equation is getting modified. So here we are having two equations, like it is represented with respect to two axes. So we know that equation of circle is given by x square plus y square is equal to r square. The same way, here we are having two axes. So that's why one axis is z square and the other axis is y square. So in y axis we are differentiating this radius. So we are subtracting that y minus the r axial, the whole square plus z square is equal to r square. So this is the side view. For the similarly for the front view, you can generate the equation which is given by difference between x square and y square. No, this one is this one, x square plus y square minus radial axis the whole square plus z square is equal to r square. So this is with respect to the z axis. So uh, the equation for the side view is given by y minus r axial the whole square plus z square is equal to r square. So this is the equation which will be obtained when you are rotating this circle. With respect to the z axis, it is given by this equation. So what are the corresponding parametric equations? So the corresponding parametric equation will be x, y, z. X is given by radial axis plus r into cos theta. So it is in the range of minus 180 to 180, and y is given by r axial plus r cos phi into sine theta. So this is from minus 180 to 180. Here the value of phi. So here the value of phi will be with minus 180 to 120. Here the value of theta will be from minus 180 to 80 degree, and z is given by r into sine phi. So these are the equations, like these are corresponding parametric equation for this object called torus with a circular cross section. And also, see, instead of deriving this torus from the circle, you can derive this torus from the ellipse also. So in that situation, if you are deriving it from the ellipse, the equation will be y minus r axial by r with respect to y axis plus z by rz the whole square is equal to 1. So this is the equation. So this is with respect to circle. So when you're deriving the torus from the circle, so this is the equation. But if you're trying to generate it from the ellipse, if you're trying to generate that from the ellipse, this will be the equation which you are going to obtain: y minus rx by ry the whole square plus z by rz the whole square. And also, see, what is r axial means? It is a distance along the y axis from the rotational axis, that is z axis, to the ellipse center. So this can be represented in the Cartesian equation given by square plus y square minus r axial by ry plus z by rz the whole square is equal to 1. So this is the one equation. So this is with respect to the Cartesian representation. Then what are the parametric equation, parametric representation for the ellipse? For the ellipse, the parametric representation is given by x is equal to r axial plus ry cos phi cos theta. Y is equal to r axial plus ry cos phi sin theta, and z is equal to rz sin phi, rz sin phi, rz rz sin phi. So these are the equations. So these are the equations, parametric equations, when you are trying to derive this torus from the ellipse. So this is how the torus can be generated. So this can be generated with respect to the circle as well as with respect to the ellipse. So now what is the OpenGL functions? OpenGL functions we have for this quadratic surfaces or cubic surfaces. So we have for sphere also we have some OpenGL functions. For cone also we have some OpenGL functions. For torus also we have this function. So for representing this quadratic surfaced object, so we can use this function. So if you want to display the quadratic surface objects, we can use this. One second. We are talking about this function side, OpenGL quadratic functions. So we have these functions. We have these functions for displaying the sphere, for displaying this cone, torus, everything. So uh, so we can display the curved surfaces which we have studied. We can display the curved surfaces which we have discussed in the previous slide by using this OpenGL functions. So all the support is given by the GLUT library. So all the support is given by the GLUT library, that is OpenGL utility toolkit. So all the support is from the OpenGL utility toolkit, and also OpenGL um, utility. So we have support from the OpenGL GLUT utility toolkit, and that is a GLUT means OpenGL utility toolkit, and GLU means OpenGL utility. So by using this GLUT function, you can display sphere, cone, torus, and also by using this GLU function also you can display sphere, you can display cylinder, you can display cone, you can display cone, you can display hollow disk, you can display hollow disk, and you can display a circular disk. So these are, so we have some, by using GLUT you can display sphere, cone, torus, teapot. By using GLU you can display you can display cylinder, you can display cone, you can display hollow disk, you can display the circular ring. So these are the these are the objects which can be displayed by using these two libraries. So the first one is sphere. So first one is a glut wire sphere. So here glut's wire sphere, it is taking three parameter. The first one is the radius. And the second one is uh, the number of longitude lines used in that sphere, and the number of latitude lines that are approximating the sphere. So we have glut wire sphere, which will display, which will give us the object, which will give the curved surface called sphere. So here r means the radius, which is in the floating point value, and n latitude and n longitude means the number of latitude and number of longitude, that are the number of latitude lines and number of longitude lines that are approximating the sphere. So and also we can use this glut wire sphere, or instead of this wire you can write it, you can use the solid also, glut solid sphere. So these things you can see, you try implementing. First you create a sphere by using this function, see the output, and then you try, then you replace this function with the solid function. Then you'll understand the difference between it, how it is represented. So this is with respect to the representation. The second one, so if you want to display a cone, means you can use glut wire cone or glut solid cone. So this wire, see everywhere. So you can either use the wire method of display, or you can use a solid function display. So either you can replace this wire with solid also, you can replace this wire with solid also. So here it is taking base, height, number of latitude, number of longitude line. So what is this base means? It is a cone, right? It is a cone. So it is a cone, right? So it is the cone. So r base will give you the radius of the base, of this cone base. So it can take floating point value, and what is this h means? H is the height of the cone, so this is also the floating point value. After that we have n longitude and n latitude. So this will give you the number of lines, lines for the quadratic, for this quadrilateral mesh approximation. So n latitude and n longitude will give us the number of orthogonal surface lines for this quadrilateral mesh approximation. So this will take the integer value. And for the torus, we have this r cross section, r axial, n concentric, n radial slices. So cross section means it is the radius about, the plane z axis. Z axis. So what is this r axial means? It is the distance of the circle. It is the distance of the circle from the center of the z axis. It is the distance of the circle from the center of the z axis. So n concentric will, it will give you the number of concentric circles, n radial slices means it will give the number of radial slices, and we have this function. So now we have one function called uh, glut wire teapot. Here also this wire can be replaced with solid teapot also. So now now here the teapot, now what this function is going means, this function is going to generate the teapot. So already we have seen in the lab program also. So we have a lab program where where I'm placing a teapot on the surface, on the wooden table surface, on the table. See, I'm placing this teapot on the table. So there you can see the teapot. So here I'm passing some value. So here I have given some values like zero point 0.1. So here I given some values like zero point 0.1. No, so try to increase this size. So try to increase this size from zero point 0.1 to zero point 0.5, or from zero point 0.1 to 1.0, and you see the changes in the output. So this is a size parameter. So this is a size parameter, um, which we have given. So so by giving the changes, by changing this value, you can see the changes in the teapot size. You can see the changes in the teapot size. So now here the teapot is generated. Here the teapot is generated by using the Bezier curve functions. So here we have the size parameter now. So it is taking the floating point value. It is taking the floating point value, and what this teapot size will give us, it will set the maximum radius. It will give the maximum radius of the teapot bowl. So this teapot will be centered. This teapot will be centered on the coordinate origin, with its vertical axis along the y-axis. So this is how the teapot, the glut wire teapot function works. So this is with respect to the glut functions. Now we'll talk about, so the previous one with respect to the glut libraries. So the previous one, this one was with respect to the glut functions to display sphere, cone, torus, teapot. So now we are using GLU functions to display cylinder, disk, partial disk, and uh, deleting the quadratic thing. So now we are going to talk about this GLU function. So by using GLU functions also, you can display sphere. So by using GLU functions also, you can display sphere, you can display cylinder, you can display cone, and you can display disk. So uh, now now the first thing, so how do you display or how do you generate a quadratic surface by using GLU functions? So the first step will be to give a name to the quadratic. So here I'm giving the name as sphere. The first step will be to give the name to the quadratic surfaces. So after that I have to activate the GLU quadratic renderer, and after that I should give the values for the surface parameter. So these are the three steps. So when you're using GLU quadratic surface function, the first step will be give a name to the quadratic. Second one is activate the GLU quadratic renderer, and after that give the values. So first thing is give the name, activate the renderer, give the values for the surface parameter. So these are the three steps. So here I have written four lines of code. This four lines of code, what it will do means, it will display a sphere, it will display a wire sphere, which will be centered on the coordinate origin. So here what is the sphere one means? Sphere one is the name of the object. Sphere one is the name of the object. And how it is activated means, it is activated, the first thing is give the name. So three steps is there. Step 1, step 2, step 3. Step 1, give the name. Step 2, activate. Step 2, activate. Step 3, assign values. So step 1, step 2, step 3. So here what is the name then? So the name is given by sphere 1. The sphere 1 is the name. It is activated. How it is activated? It is activated by using GLU quadratic function. And also, what is the mode? It is selected here. The mode, it is selected as GLU underscore line. And also how the values are assigned? The values are assigned by these parameters: r, n latitude, n longitude. So n latitude and n longitude are giving the number of longitude lines and latitude lines. R will give you the sphere radius. So first name, second activate, third assign the values. So here I'm using this GLU line. Now here I'm using GLU line. So instead of line, you can use GLU point. So we can use, see these are the display modes. So these are the display modes which are available for displaying the quadratic surfaces. Here I'm displaying, I'm using the display mode as line. So it will be displayed as a line. So now instead of line I can display, so quadratic display will be displayed as a point. So for that I can use GLU underscore, GLU underscore, GLU underscore point. Or I have to fill some colors for that. I have to fill some colors for that quadratic surfaces. I can use it as GLU underscore fill, also GLU underscore fill. It will be displayed as a patch of filled area. So this is how you can use a different display mode. So after that we have function called GLU cylinder. GLU cylinder. So GLU cylinder means um, so it will give us the cylinder, it will give us the cylinder. So here we have quadratic name, here we have r base, r top, height, latitude, longitude. So see here, uh, the base will be, here the r base will be, see here the r base will be the z axis, here the r base will be the z axis. um, and also um, r top will be the this is the cylinder, no? So this is the cylinder. So this will be r base, value of r base, this will be r top. So r base, r top, and h will give you the height of the cylinder, h will give you the height of the cylinder, h will give you the height of the cylinder. And n latitude and longitude will give you the number of latitude and number of longitude. So this is with respect to the cylinder. See, by using the cylinder function only, you can display cone, you can display cone. How do you display the cone? Means if I give this value of r top as 0, if I give this value of r top, see, by using the cylinder function only you can display the cone. By for that I have to pass this r top with 0. So if I make this as 0, it will become like this. The cone will be displayed. So for using the cylinder function only you can display the cone. So for that, the top of the radius, the r top radius value should be initialized with 0. So if you make this r top as 0, which is a floating point value, so for 0.0, then you will get it as the cone. So you can display the you can display a disk, um, you can display a disk. See here, one thing is, see here, for the cylinder case, the base of the cylinder object will be in the xy plane. So this will be in the xy plane. So this will be in the xy plane, and where the value of z is 0, the z axis will be 0, and so that's why the axis is the z axis. So the same thing for this disk also. Here also for the disk also, disk will be displayed in the xy plane where the value of z will be equal to 0. So um, here we have R inner. So so here you can give the name. Here, see this, for the first parameter is the name which you want to assign, the name which you want to assign. So the second one we have R inner, R outer, n radii, number of rings. So see, the R inner means the inner radius. R outer means the outer radius. So if the inner radius is 0, means it will be a solid disk. It will be a solid disk. If not, it will be a hollow disk. See, if you're giving it as R inner as 0, the disk will be solid. So otherwise, it will be displayed with with concentric hole in the center of the disk. And also, the disk is divided into number of phases which are specified by the number of radius parameter, n radii and n ring. And what is this partial disk? So partial disk means um, some part of the ring will be displayed, some part of the circular ring will be displayed. So that we will call it as a partial disk. So here the first parameter will give you the name. The second, the inner radius value, the outer radius value. N radii, radii and n rings are used for getting the number of faces which are having like it is divided into a number of phases by using this n radii and n. See, till this, so till this part, all the parameters are same as the GLU disk only. So we have start angle and sweep angle. So we have start angle and sweep angle. So start angle means it is angular positions. It is angular positions in XY plane. In XY plane, which is measured from the positive Y axis. So um, it is the angular value which is in the xy plane, which is measured in the y-axis. So the measurement will be in the y-axis, and it will be in the clockwise direction. It will be in the clockwise direction. It is in terms of degrees. It is in terms of degrees. And also we have sweep angle. So sweep angle means see, it is from the angular position. It is from the angular position to angular position plus sweep angle. So it is since the sweep angle means uh, so it will give you the angular distance from the starting position. So from the starting position means from the from this start angle, from this start angle, what is the angular distance? What is the angular distance? So that will be stored in sweep angle. So it is like if it is starting from this position means, and if it is moved to this point means, so this will be your sweep angle. It has started from this position P1 and it has moved to position P2. So the angle between P1 and P2, we can call it as the sweep angle. It is covering that much distance. So um, sweep angle means it will give the angular distance from the starting angle position. So it will be also in terms of degree only. The measurement is also in terms of degree. And so if you want to uh, um, remove the memory allocated for any quadratic surfaces, so that can be eliminated, or that can be done by using this delete quadratic function. So and also we have quadratic orientation. So what is this quadratic equation orientation means? So this will give you the front direction and back direction for the quadratic surfaces. If you want to find the front direction and back direction for the quadratic surfaces, you can use the quadratic quadratic orientation. um, so here see, the first three corresponds to the name of the quadratic surfaces. This can be GLU underscore outside or GLU underscore inside. So it can be outside or inside. So next, GLU quadratic normal. So what is this GLU quadratic normal means? um, so it is used for generating the normal surface. It is used for generating the surface normal vector. So here we have generation mode as the constant. So this generation mode constants can be this generation constant mode can be GLU underscore none or GLU underscore flat. So we can have these two constants. um, See, by default, so it will tell, see, this constant, this generation mode will tell how the surface normal vector should be generated. So you can generate the surface normal vectors by using GL quadratic normals. So this generation mode will tell us how the surface normal should be generated. The default option is GL underscore none. So for flat surfaces we can use the constant GL underscore flat. And also, when lighting condition being used, so when the lighting condition being used, you can use GLU underscore smooth. So when lighting condition or shading condition is to be done, you can use the generation mode as GL underscore smooth, which will generate the normal vector for each surface vector positions. And also and also um, if any error occurs, in that case, some function needs to be invoked. So for that we can use this quadratic callback function, which will be invoked if an error occurs. So when I'm trying to generate a quadratic surface, but while generating the quadratic surface, some error will occur. So at that time I have to invoke some function. So that function is nothing but the GL quadratic callback function. So we can have a function which will be invoked when an error occur when I'm trying to generate the quadratic surfaces. So for that you can use this GLU quadratic callback functions. So this is with respect to the GLO quadratic callback functions. So next we have some Bezier curve and all. So this we will just see in the next class. In the next class, we'll talk about this Bezier curve, the equations that are corresponding to this Bezier curve, and what are the properties of Bezier curve. So I'll just stop the class now. So the remaining we'll see in the coming class. In the coming session, we'll see what is Bezier curve and how it is being implemented. So I'll stop the class now.